My mom said she forgot to tell me Grandma left me her house because it slipped her mind during grief. Then I found the original will. She'd forged a new one making herself sole beneficiary and had been renting out my inheritance for 5 years. My mother handed me an eviction notice for the house I thought was a rental. Except it turns out I'm the legal owner, and she's been stealing my inheritance for half a decade. I found out 3 weeks ago when the property management company she hired sent paperwork to the homeowner at my address by mistake. The letter said the current tenants were moving out and asked if I wanted to renew or find new renters. I called them thinking it was an error, and the woman on the phone said, "You're listed as the owner of 428 Maple Street, correct?" That was my grandma's house, the house I grew up visiting every Sunday. The house my mom told me got sold to cover estate taxes when Grandma died 5 years ago. I hung up and went straight to the county record's office. The property was deeded to me in my grandmother's will, not my mom, me, solely, and it had been mine since 2020. When I confronted my mom, she actually laughed, like I'd told a joke. She said, "Oh, sweetie, that was just a clerical thing. Grandma wanted me to handle everything, and I've been managing it for the family." I asked her what family since I never saw a penny, and she got really quiet. Then she said, "I was going to tell you eventually. The timing was never right. You were going through so much with your job, and I didn't want to burden you." Burden me with my own house that she'd been collecting rent on. I pulled the original will from the courthouse. Clear as day. The house goes to me, her savings account split between me and my mom, her jewelry to my aunt. I also requested any amendments. That's when I found it. A revised will filed 6 months after the original, 3 months after Grandma died. The signatures looked wrong. The witness names were people I'd never heard of. I took both documents to a lawyer. He looked at them for maybe 2 minutes and said, "This second one is forged. Do you want to pursue criminal charges?" I'm still processing that my own mother forged a legal document and stole from me for 5 years. The lawyer said she's been collecting roughly $1,800 a month in rent. That's over $108,000. He's filing a lawsuit for the full amount plus damages and reporting her to the police for forgery and fraud. My mom has been blowing up my phone. First, she tried the grief excuse again, saying, "I was so devastated when Mom died I wasn't thinking clearly, and by the time I realized what happened it felt too late to fix it." Then she said I was ruining the family over a simple misunderstanding. Yesterday, she showed up at my apartment crying, saying I'm going to make her lose everything, and how could I do this to her after she raised me? I told her she stole my inheritance and committed fraud. She said, "I gave you a roof over your head for 18 years, this is how you repay me." My aunt, Grandma's daughter, is furious at my mom and gave me boxes of Grandma's papers she'd been storing. In them, I found a letter Grandma wrote me 2 months before she died. She said she was leaving me the house because I was the only grandchild who visited her every week, who called her just to talk, who remembered her birthday without Facebook reminding me. She said she knew I'd take care of it and maybe raise my own family there someday. She said she loved me and was proud of me. My mom read that letter when she was going through Grandma's things. She knew exactly what Grandma wanted and she took it anyway. The tenants moved out last week. I went to see the house for the first time in years. My mom had painted over the wallpaper Grandma loved, ripped out her garden to put in gravel, and replaced her wooden porch swing with cheap plastic furniture. The kitchen cabinets Grandma refinished herself were gone, swapped for builder-grade particle board. She'd erased my grandmother from her own house. My lawyer says we have an airtight case. The DA is considering criminal charges. My mom could face jail time. My dad called me yesterday begging me to drop it, saying, "She made a mistake, but she's still your mother." I asked him if he knew, and he got really quiet and said, "I thought you two had worked it out between you." He knew, they both knew. I'm moving into the house next month. I'm ripping out everything my mom changed and restoring it the way Grandma had it. I'm planting her rose garden again. I'm refinishing the porch. My extended family is split. Half are saying I'm doing the right thing. The other half thinks I'm being vindictive and should just accept what happened and move forward as a family. My mom's sister told me I'm prioritizing money over my own mother and that Grandma wouldn't want this. But Grandma wrote me a letter saying she wanted me to have that house. She trusted me with it, and my mom stole it and lied to my face for 5 years while cashing checks that should have been mine. The preliminary hearing is in 6 weeks. My lawyer is confident. But my mom's family keeps telling me I'm tearing everyone apart and that I'll regret destroying my relationship with her over a house. Am I wrong for taking this all the way? Should I have just let it go once I found out? The lawyer called me Tuesday morning and said we found something else. Turns out my mom didn't just forge one will. She forged 3 separate documents over 18 months, each one giving her more control. The first fake will split the house 50-50 between us. The second gave her 75%. The final one, filed 8 months after Grandma died, made her sole owner of everything. My lawyer said it showed evolving criminal intent, and the DA is now pursuing felony fraud charges instead of just a misdemeanor. I threw up after that call, like actually threw up. Because it means my mom sat there for a year and a half, watching me grieve, watching me struggle with my job and my rent, knowing she was actively stealing from me in stages. She didn't make one panicked mistake. She planned it. My dad filed for divorce yesterday. I didn't even know until my aunt told me. Apparently he's been talking to a lawyer for 2 weeks and moved out of their house on Monday. My mom called me screaming that I'd destroyed her marriage, that dad was abandoning her when she needs him most, and how dare I turn him against her. I said I didn't turn him against anyone, she did this herself. She told me I was a spoiled brat who never appreciated anything she did for me. I hung up. She called back 17 times. I blocked her number. The preliminary hearing got moved up to next week because the DA wants to move fast. My lawyer said they have her dead to rights. The forged signatures don't match Grandma's handwriting on any other documents. The witnesses listed on the fake wills don't exist. He tracked down the names, and they're either deceased people from other states or completely made up. And the notary stamp is from a woman who retired in 2015 and moved to Florida. They literally have her on camera at the county office, filing the final fake will. My uncle, my mom's brother, came to my apartment Friday night. He didn't call first, just showed up. He said the family is falling apart, and I need to drop the charges before I destroy everyone. I asked him if he knew what she did, and he said, it doesn't matter anymore, what's done is done. I told him it absolutely matters, and asked if he'd be saying that if someone stole $108,000 from him. He said I was being selfish, and that family forgives. I asked him to leave. He wouldn't. He stood there in my doorway talking about family loyalty and how Grandma would be heartbroken to see us fighting. I told him Grandma wrote me a letter specifically leaving me that house and my mom threw it away. He didn't know about the letter. He got really quiet and then said, your mom is sick. She needs help, not prison. I said then she should have thought about that before committing fraud for 5 years. He left. I found out yesterday my mom took out a home equity line of credit on the house 2 years ago. $35,000. She never paid it back. The bank is now coming after me as the legal owner. My lawyer is adding that to the lawsuit because she took out debt against my property without my knowledge or consent. That's another felony. I went to the house again on Saturday to start documenting everything for the lawsuit. I needed photos of all the changes she made. The neighbors saw me and came over. An older couple, they've lived next door for 30 years. They asked if I was the new owner, and I said I was actually the owner the whole time. My mom had been renting it out illegally. The wife got this look on her face and said, oh honey, your mother told us you'd sign the house over to her because you didn't want the responsibility. Another lie, she'd been telling people I gave her the house, that I didn't want it. The husband said they'd noticed my mom taking things out of the house over the years. Furniture, boxes, Grandma's paintings off the walls. They thought it was odd, but figured it was family business. I asked if they remembered what she took, and the wife said, almost everything that made it look like your grandmother's home. She stole the furniture too. She emptied that house of everything Grandma owned and sold it or kept it. I started checking online marketplaces and estate sale sites. I found Grandma's dining table listed on Facebook Marketplace 14 months ago, $800. The description said, vintage farmhouse table, must pick up. The seller's profile was my mom's friend's name, but the pickup address was my parents' old house. My lawyer says we can possibly recover some items if I can prove ownership, but most of it's probably gone. I'm never getting Grandma's things back. The worst part is I keep finding more. Grandma had a small life insurance policy, $15,000. It was supposed to be split between me and my mom. I never saw a penny. My mom told me there was no life insurance. I found the policy paperwork in the boxes my aunt gave me. My mom cashed it out 3 weeks after the funeral and kept everything. My cousin, the one who's been supportive this whole time, told me yesterday that my mom tried to get her to lie to the police. She wanted my cousin to say she witnessed Grandma signing the second will, that it was legitimate. My cousin said no, and my mom started crying and said, I raised you, how can you do this to me? My cousin told her she wasn't going to commit perjury, and my mom hasn't spoken to her since. The tenants who just moved out contacted me through the property management company. They want their security deposit back, $2,400, except my mom already kept it and told them there was excessive damage to the property. I walked through that house. It's immaculate. They left it cleaner than my mom had any right to expect. I'm refunding them out of my own pocket because it's the right thing to do and adding it to what my mom owes me. That's $110,400 now, plus the $35,000 equity line, plus interest, plus the insurance money, plus the value of the furniture and items she stole. My lawyer conservatively estimates she's stolen or defrauded me out of $180,000 over 5 years. My mom's best friend called me yesterday and said I'm cruel for kicking her while she's down. I said she's down because she committed crimes. The friend said, she's your mother, she gave you life. I said, and then she spent 5 years stealing my inheritance and lying about it. I'm not backing down. The hearing is in 6 days. My lawyer says she'll likely take a plea deal to avoid trial, but if she doesn't, we're ready. I've got the original will, the forged documents, the financial records, the witnesses, everything. My dad called me this morning. First time we've talked since he asked me to drop it. He said, I'm sorry I didn't protect you from this. I should have known what she was doing. I asked him if he really didn't know, and he said he suspected something was off, but didn't want to believe it. He said he's on my side now, and he'll testify if needed. Part of me wonders if I should have just walked away when I found out. Let her keep the house, keep the money, avoid all this family destruction. But then I remember Grandma's letter. I remember her rose garden that's gone. I remember 5 years of struggling to pay rent while my mom collected checks on property that was legally mine. Am I making this worse by pushing for criminal charges, or is she just facing what she deserves? My mom took a plea deal 3 days before the hearing. Her lawyer called mine Tuesday afternoon and said she'd agree to plead guilty to 1 count of felony fraud and 1 count of forgery in exchange for dropping the other charges. Part of the deal is full restitution, $185,000 plus legal fees, payable immediately. She has 30 days to come up with the money or they're seizing her assets. The DA said if she doesn't pay, she's looking at 3 to 5 years minimum. She doesn't have $185,000. I know she doesn't because my dad told me their savings account had maybe $12,000 in it before he drained his half and left. Her lawyer apparently tried to negotiate a payment plan, and the DA said no. My lawyer said they're being harsh because she committed the fraud over such a long period. It wasn't one mistake, it was years of deliberate theft. I should feel relieved, but I just feel empty. Like I waited for this moment, and now that it's here, I don't know what to do with it. My mom's sister called me Friday morning absolutely hysterical. She screamed at me for 20 minutes about how I'm sending my own mother to prison, how I'm a monster, how Grandma would be ashamed of me. I let her finish, and then I said Grandma left me a letter saying she wanted me to have the house, and my mom stole it anyway. My aunt said, "You're really going to let her go to jail over money?" And I said she's going to jail because she committed crimes, not because of me. She told me I'd regret this for the rest of my life, and hung up. My dad came over Saturday with more boxes from my parents' house. Stuff my mom had hidden in the basement. Grandma's photo albums, her recipe box, a quilt she'd made by hand, some of her jewelry that was supposed to go to my aunt. He said he found all of it packed away like my mom was planning to get rid of it eventually. There were also bank statements showing she'd opened a separate account in 2021 just for the rental income. She'd been hiding it from my dad too. He looked like he'd aged 10 years. He kept saying, "I should have known, I should have seen it," and I didn't know what to tell him. Part of me is angry he didn't figure it out sooner, but another part knows my mom is good at lying. She lied to all of us. The house sale she told me about 5 years ago never happened. She showed me fake closing documents. I found them in one of the boxes my dad brought. She'd photoshopped a sale agreement with a made-up buyer and a fake title company. She'd planned this from the beginning. I asked my dad if he knew about the Photoshop documents, and he said no. He said after Grandma died my mom handled everything, and he trusted her to do the right thing. He said he never thought to question it because you don't expect your wife to be a criminal. My mom's parents, my other grandparents, stopped by my apartment Sunday. They're in their 80s and they drove 2 hours to see me. My grandfather said they wanted to hear my side before they made any judgments. I showed them everything. The original will, the forged documents, the letter Grandma wrote me, the bank statements showing the rental income. I showed them the photos of what my mom did to the house. My grandmother started crying. Not angry crying, just sad. She said, "I don't understand how she could do this to you." My grandfather said they'd help me pay for the legal fees if I needed it, and that they were sorry. They said they'd raised my mom better than this, and they didn't know where they went wrong. I told them it wasn't their fault, and they shouldn't feel responsible for her choices. My grandmother hugged me and said, "Your grandma would be so proud of how you're handling this." That broke me. I cried for the first time since this whole thing started. Just completely fell apart in my grandmother's arms like I was 5 years old again. They left a few hours later, and my grandfather said they wouldn't be giving my mom any money to pay the restitution. He said she needed to face what she'd done, and they weren't going to enable her anymore. My mom apparently called them begging for help, and my grandfather told her no. The property management company sent me the full rental history yesterday. My mom started renting the house 4 months after Grandma died. The first tenants paid $1,600 a month. She raised it to $1,800 after they left. She's collected $109,600 in rent over 5 years, not counting the security deposits she kept. Every single deposit, she claimed damage and kept the money. 6 different tenants, 6 stolen deposits. I'm refunding all of them. The property management company helped me track down their contact information. It's going to cost me almost $15,000, but it's the right thing to do. They didn't do anything wrong, and my mom stole from them too. One of the former tenants, a young couple who lived there in 2022, called me after I sent the refund. The wife said they'd had a baby while living in that house, and my mom tried to keep their deposit because of infant damage to the carpets. They'd professionally cleaned everything before moving out, and she still kept their $2,200. The wife said, "Thank you for doing this, we really needed that money back then." My mom stole from a family with a newborn. I don't know how she sleeps at night. My cousin told me yesterday that my mom's been telling people I'm exaggerating what happened and that it was just a family miscommunication about inheritance. She's apparently saying I'm being vindictive because we never got along, and I'm using this as an excuse to hurt her. None of that is true. We got along fine before she stole from me. I found out she's been posting on Facebook too. Vague things about betrayal by people you love and being attacked by your own child. Her friends keep commenting supportive messages about how blood is thicker than water and family should forgive. None of them know what she actually did. My cousin screenshot everything and sent it to my lawyer. He said it might actually help our case if she's trying to play victim publicly while refusing to take responsibility. The 30-day deadline for restitution is May 15th. My lawyer said if she doesn't pay by then, the court will start seizing assets. Her car, her retirement account, anything she owns. She'll have to sell everything to pay me back, and even then it probably won't be enough. She'll still go to jail. My dad said she's been frantically trying to borrow money from anyone who will listen. She called his brother asking for $50,000. She called her college roommate. She even called my ex-boyfriend's mother, someone she hasn't spoken to in 3 years. Everyone said no. I went back to the house yesterday to start planning renovations. I'm hiring someone to restore Grandma's garden exactly how it was. I found old photos showing the layout, and I'm going to replant every single flower she had. The porch swing she loved is being custom rebuilt based on pictures. I'm ripping out every single thing my mom changed and putting it back the way Grandma wanted it. It's going to cost me probably $40,000 to undo all the damage my mom did. But I don't care. This house was Grandma's pride and joy, and my mom desecrated it. My mom sent me an email last night, just one line, "I hope you're happy now." I deleted it without responding. Am I supposed to feel guilty that she's losing everything? Because I don't. My mom's house got foreclosed on yesterday. I found out because my dad called me at 6 in the morning asking if I knew. The bank seized it 3 days ago and posted the notice publicly. She has 2 weeks to vacate. He said she's been sleeping in her car for the past 4 nights because she's too proud to ask anyone for help and nobody's offering anyway. I didn't know what to say to that. Part of me felt bad for maybe half a second, and then I remembered she stole $185,000 from me and committed fraud for 5 years. The restitution deadline passed last week. She didn't come up with the money. The court seized her retirement account, her car, and put a lien on the house. It still wasn't enough. She's short about $60,000 even after liquidating everything she owned. Her sentencing hearing is scheduled for June 2nd, and her lawyer told my dad she's likely getting 2 years minimum because she couldn't pay. My aunt, the one who called me a monster, showed up at my work on Monday. She somehow found out where I work and just walked right into the office asking for me. Security had to escort her out because she started screaming in the lobby about how I was killing my mother, how the stress was going to give her a heart attack, how I was worse than the criminals in prison. My boss called me into his office after and asked if everything was okay. I had to explain the whole situation. He was incredibly understanding and said if my family shows up again to call security immediately and he'd handle it. He also said to take time off if I needed it. I don't need time off. I need my family to leave me alone. My mom's best friend has been harassing me on social media. She created a Facebook group called Justice for My Mom's First Name and has been posting about how I'm a horrible daughter who's sending an innocent woman to prison over a misunderstanding about property. She shared photos of my mom looking disheveled and crying, talking about how she's homeless now because of me. The group has 43 members. Most of them are my mom's friends who don't know the real story. They keep tagging me in posts asking how I can live with myself. My cousin, the one who refused to lie for my mom, got added to the group and immediately posted screenshots of the forged documents, the bank statements showing the rental income, and Grandma's letter. She wrote a long explanation of everything my mom actually did. The group went silent for about 6 hours, and then the friend deleted the whole thing and blocked both of us. My dad told me my mom tried to break into the house last Thursday. My house, the one that's legally mine. She apparently thought I wasn't home and tried to get in through the back door. The neighbors called the police. She told them she was the owner and I was illegally keeping her out. The cops checked the property records, saw my name, and arrested her for attempted breaking and entering. She spent the night in jail. Her lawyer got her out the next morning, but now she has another charge on top of everything else. My lawyer said it's probably going to add time to her sentence because it shows she's not remorseful and she's still trying to claim ownership of property that isn't hers. I asked my dad why she would do something that stupid, and he said, "I think she's having a breakdown." He said she's convinced herself that if she can just get back into the house, somehow everything will be okay and the courts will see it was all a mistake. That's not how any of this works. The contractors started on the house Monday. They're ripping out everything my mom installed and restoring it to match the photos I have of Grandma's original design. I'm there every day after work watching the progress. Yesterday they pulled up the gravel in the backyard and started preparing the soil for the garden. The rose bushes arrive next week. One of the contractors asked me why I'm restoring it to look exactly like the old photos instead of modernizing it. I told him my grandmother left me this house because she trusted me to take care of it and I'm honoring that. He nodded and said, "That's real nice. Not many people care about that stuff anymore." I've spent $31,000 on renovations so far. I have another $15,000 worth of work scheduled. Every dollar I spend feels like I'm erasing what my mom did. My mom's brother, the uncle who told me to drop the charges, sent me a long email last week. He said he's been thinking about everything and he was wrong to pressure me. He said he talked to his own lawyer about what my mom did, and the lawyer told him it was textbook elder fraud and inheritance theft. He apologized for not believing me at first and said if I needed anything to let him know. I didn't respond. I don't know if I can forgive him for telling me to let it go. My therapist, who I started seeing 3 weeks ago, says I'm handling this in a remarkably healthy way considering the circumstances. She said most people in my situation would be falling apart, but I'm channeling everything into restoring the house and pursuing justice. She asked me how I feel about my mom potentially going to prison, and I said I feel nothing. She said that's normal. That sometimes when people betray you this badly, you just go numb. I don't feel numb though, I feel angry all the time. I wake up angry and I go to bed angry. I'm angry that she stole from me. I'm angry that she lied. I'm angry that she destroyed grandma's house. I'm angry that half my family thinks I'm the bad guy. I'm angry that I have to spend my own money fixing what she ruined. My therapist says the anger is healthy as long as I'm not letting it consume me. I don't know if I am or not. I got a call from the DA's office yesterday. They wanted to let me know my mom's lawyer has been trying to negotiate again. They want to reduce the charges to a misdemeanor with probation if I agree to reduce the restitution amount to $50,000. The DA said they need my input since I'm the victim. I said no, I want the full amount and I want her to face felony charges. The DA said understood, and that was the end of it. My dad asked me last night if there's any part of me that wants to help her. Just give her enough money to avoid prison, let her pay me back over time, something. He said she's still my mother, and maybe I'll regret this someday. I told him she stopped being my mother when she forged legal documents and stole my inheritance. He got quiet and then said, I understand, and hung up. I don't think he does understand. Nobody does except my cousin and my other grandparents. Everyone else thinks I should show mercy because she's family. But she didn't show me any mercy when she was cashing rent checks every month knowing that money should have been mine. The sentencing hearing is in 2 weeks. My lawyer says I can give a victim impact statement if I want. I'm trying to decide if I should. My mom got sentenced to 33 months in federal prison last Thursday. I gave my victim impact statement. I stood up in that courtroom and told the judge everything. How she forged 3 separate wills over 18 months. How she stole $185,000 from me. How she destroyed grandma's house and sold her belongings. How she lied to my face for 5 years while collecting rent on my property. How she tried to break into my house after getting caught. The judge listened to every word, and when I finished, she said, "Thank you for your courage in coming forward." My mom's lawyer tried one last time to get a reduced sentence. He said she was remorseful, that she'd lost everything already, that prison would destroy her life. The judge looked at my mom and asked if she had anything to say. My mom stood up and said, "I made mistakes, but I was grieving and I wasn't thinking clearly. I never meant to hurt anyone." The judge said, "You had 5 years to come clean and you didn't. You forged legal documents, committed fraud, and even after being caught, you attempted to break into property that doesn't belong to you. This wasn't a mistake. This was calculated theft from your own daughter." 33 months, she starts serving in 6 weeks. My dad was there. He sat on my side of the courtroom. After the sentencing, he hugged me and said he was proud of me for seeing it through. He said my mom's lawyer contacted him asking if he'd testify as a character witness, and he refused. He told them he couldn't lie under oath about someone he doesn't recognize anymore. My mom's sister left before the judge finished reading the sentence. My mom's best friend, the one who made the Facebook group, stayed and glared at me the entire time. After it was over, she came up to me in the hallway and said, "I hope you're happy. You just destroyed your mother's life." I looked at her and said she destroyed her own life when she committed fraud and walked away. I haven't heard from that side of the family since. My aunt blocked me on everything. My mom's friends stopped tagging me in posts. The whole Justice For group is gone. They scattered the second reality set in. My other grandparents came to the sentencing. Afterwards, my grandfather said he was sorry it came to this, but he was glad I stood up for myself. My grandmother told me she talked to grandma's old friends, and they all said grandma would have wanted me to fight for what was mine. She said, "Your grandma didn't raise you to be a doormat, and she didn't leave you that house so your mother could steal it." The house renovations finished 2 weeks ago. The contractors rebuilt grandma's porch swing exactly like the original. They restored the kitchen cabinets she'd refinished. They replanted her entire garden using the photos I had. I had her old wallpaper custom reproduced and hung in the living room. You can't even tell my mom was ever there. I moved in last Saturday. My dad helped me carry boxes and furniture. We worked in silence mostly, but at one point he stopped and said, "Your grandma would love what you did with this place." I told him, "I just put it back the way it was supposed to be." He said, "Exactly." The rose bushes are blooming. I sit on the porch every evening and watch them. Grandma planted those roses when she first bought this house in 1987. My mom ripped them out and I brought them back. It feels like grandma's here again. I got the full restitution amount. The court liquidated everything my mom owned, and it came to $127,000. She has to pay the remaining $58,000 through a payment plan after she gets out of prison. My lawyer said she'll probably be paying me for the next 15 years. Every month I'll get a check reminding her what she did. I refunded all 6 former tenants their security deposits. One of them sent me a thank you card. Another one asked if the house would be available to rent again because they loved living there. I told them I'm keeping it for myself now. My cousin told me my mom tried calling her from jail 2 days ago. She didn't answer. My mom left a voicemail saying she needed help, that she was scared, that nobody would talk to her. My cousin deleted it. She said, I feel bad she's suffering, but she did this to herself, and I'm not getting pulled into her drama. My uncle, the one who apologized, came by the house last week. He brought a plant for the garden and said he wanted to see what I'd done with the place. I gave him a tour and he kept saying, wow, and this is exactly how I remember it. Before he left, he said, I'm sorry I didn't believe you at first. I should have trusted you. I told him it was okay and that I understood. He said, no, it's not okay. I chose to protect my sister instead of doing what was right, and I'll regret that. We're good now. He stops by sometimes to check on me and help with yard work. My therapist asked me last week how I felt now that everything was over. I said relieved, exhausted, angry still, but less than before. She asked if I had any regrets, and I said no. She seemed surprised. She said most people in my situation feel guilty even when they did the right thing. I told her I spent too long being manipulated to feel guilty about standing up for myself. I sleep in Grandma's old bedroom, the one that faces the garden. Every morning I wake up and see the roses and remember why I fought so hard for this place. It wasn't about the money. It wasn't even really about justice. It was about honoring the woman who loved me enough to leave me something precious and making sure her wishes were respected. My mom sends letters from jail. I don't open them. My dad asked if I wanted to know what they say, and I said no. He said they're mostly her asking for forgiveness and saying she's sorry. I told him she had 5 years to be sorry, and she chose to keep stealing instead. The divorce between my parents finalized 3 weeks ago. My dad moved into an apartment downtown and seems lighter somehow. He said he didn't realize how much stress he was carrying until it was gone. He's dating someone new, a woman he met through work. I'm happy for him. I found more of Grandma's things in the basement of my mom's old house before it got foreclosed. Photo albums from the 1960s, her wedding dress, letters she wrote to my grandfather during Vietnam. My dad saved them before the bank took everything. They're in my house now, in the room I'm turning into a library. Sometimes I walk through the house and touch things Grandma touched. The kitchen counter where she rolled out pie dough, the windowsill where she kept her African violets, the floor where she taught me to dance when I was 6. My mom tried to erase all of it and I brought it back. People ask me if I'll ever forgive her. My aunt asked. My therapist asked. Random acquaintances who heard about it asked. I tell them all the same thing. Forgiveness isn't something she's earned and I'm not required to give it. She stole from me, lied to me, and destroyed something precious because she thought she deserved it more than I did. That's not something you forgive just because DNA says you should. My dad says she'll be out in maybe 27 months with good behavior. I'll be 31. She'll be 63. The house will still be mine and she'll still owe me $58,000. Nothing will have changed except she'll have a felony record and I'll have had 2 more years of peace. I don't know what happens when she gets out. I don't know if she'll try to contact me or if she'll finally leave me alone. I don't know if my extended family will expect some big reconciliation. What I do know is this house is mine, legally and morally, and nobody's taking it from me again. Last Sunday I had dinner on the porch, just me and the roses and the sunset. I raised a glass of wine to Grandma and said thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for the house. Thank you for teaching me that some things are worth fighting for even when everyone tells you to let it go. The house is exactly how she wanted it. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And my mom is exactly where she deserves to be.